we care?
Hello, everybody. I did that mid transition. He was mid sentence. I bring in Alex, otherwise known as Lexi, by MaskedSwan on the internet, and joined with me, and the only person, no man in the middle. It's the only jewel to my other side of my coin. Middlecott is me. So welcome to the podcast thing.
The broadcast podcast. Thank you very much, Lexi. I appreciate being here. It's nice to be back again on the podcast. And I'm glad that we're not distracting ourselves with a superfluous third member to this dynamic duo. Like, this is where you want to be. This is what you want.
So in reality, RMC was just a bit too powerful.
That's true, actually. Yeah. I like that we had a couple of casts together, like towards the start of the split, and the things that happened in those games and the shenanigans that occurred is just like, no. We can't put these two people on broadcast together ever again. But yeah, no, great to be here, making another appearance on the podcast. It has been a bit of a crazy little bit for the LJL, and I'm excited to get stuck into it.
Oh, it has been. But first and foremost, we've got a few necessary things to take care of, ladies and gentlemen. My week! How's my week been? Yeah, because it's important that we actually do get some of our personality and opinions and ideas across. So, my week, I've had a really up and down week, mate. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's one of those things. It happens. That's life in general. But outside of the up and downness of it, I played a little bit of Star Wars: The Knights of the Old Republic recently. Because a lot of people have been talking about like RPGs. Obviously, Elden Ring has been in the forefront. I believe last week's podcast, Sam had played it for something like 10 hours by that point, so he was still in the very early parts. And I was kind of like, oh man, I've got this bug. I just want to kind of itch it. And so I played like 5 or 7 hours of Knights of the Old Republic, and I've had fun with it. I've got so many mods. You
have to. From games back in the day. What about you, mate? I've not been playing much Elden Ring. I've not been playing much of anything at all. I've been going through. Do you ever have those weird periods where you're like, oh, I've got all these games in my Steam library and I hate all of them?
Years of that, mate.
Oh yeah. So I downloaded Homeworld Sands of Karak. And if anyone knows what that is, more power to you. Ground RTS game based off the iconic Homeworld series. Played a few hours of that, and which has been good fun. Not really massively into my RTSs, but it's been a good distraction. Mostly I've just been watching Star Trek Voyager, like just churning through that. Love it.
I watched the most recent, I watched a few episodes of the Star Wait, what did you say? Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Yes, okay, so I can continue on with this sentence.
Yes.
That's very good. I've been recently watching the animated Star Trek stuff that's on Amazon Prime at the moment.
Ooh, Lower Decks. Yes, I need to get into
that. It's very much a mix of like Deep Space, the Netflix show, but with Star Trek vibes, which I don't hate, I don't love. It's just, it doesn't have the little green dude from Deep Space just going... And I love those things because I can make the noises for those things. So
deep space. I feel like this isn't the thing with Steve what's his face in it, the space agency thing.
No, it's like it's Final Space. That's it.
Final Space.
Yes, it's called Final Space.
Final Space. Is ringing a bell. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've watched like a couple episodes of this. Yeah, no, that was all right actually.
Yeah, Star Trek Lower Decks gave me the same kind of vibes. So
I can understand that. Yeah.
Good. It was still very enjoyable, and it's just the kind of thing. I watched a few episodes, and then it's myself and my missus' current like eat food show to watch too. But we've watched like a fuckload of anime, dude. I am actually really trash. And I can't tell if I'm depressed as fuck or not, because I'm trying to remember what I was like last time this happened to me, and I'm like, oh, am I really depressed?
Why am I watching all this anime?
I've watched like 3 seasons in a week, mate, and I haven't done that stuff since I was like 15. And I'm like, oh god. I'm doing it with the missus, so I'm kind of like, it's bonding, or am I just telling myself that? Am I telling myself that?
Being
I'll be honest.
sad together.
I'll be honest. Miss Kobayashi, great anime, very funny. Dress Up Darling hits up every single thing I love in an anime. But I'm a complete.
And I've glossed over, and
I'm
it's all
complete
just
trash.
washing over me. It's all don't
Anyway,
care.
if you want to hear about LJL content, you should like, comment, and subscribe to this podcast. Let us know in the description down below what your favorite anime is, and maybe we'll cover it. Also, remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions for us or you think of anything else, by the way, I'm gonna bring the standing as I keep doing this. Let's get the thing over quick.
Hello.
Join our Discord server when Discord is working. At the time of recording, Discord is down. If you were part of that meme, good for you. Or you can just tweet at us with hashtag LJL podcast and we'll do it. Or catch us live on the live recordings of this podcast. And you can ask it in the Twitch chat if we actually see it and remember and everything else. You can just keep yelling at us.
We won't.
Nope.
Don't worry.
No. Really,
just keep yelling.
We won't. By the way, everybody, nice little announcement for all our Spotify listeners out there. You can catch the podcast on any audio platform that you would like to go, but our Spotify listeners can now get the same podcast of video quality now for them on there, so you can watch our lovely faces on your Spotify platforms.
What?
Yeah.
Video on Spotify? No way.
Yeah, we're Joe Rogan now. We get our podcasts now on video. Yes. We are Joe Rogan. I don't know if good or bad, but we are. We are. With that,
I'm just imagining, like, holy shit! Did you guys see Cassin's Quadrikill on Graves? Jamie, pull that shit up for me. Like, it's fire, man.
Holy shit, dude! Wow. Okay.
Did you guys know that Cassin only eats bear meat? Yeah, I've heard that's how how he's so good at jungle. He only eats bear meat.
I've heard the facts around that, mate. Yeah, I do believe Cassin does that. And I mean, let's talk about Cassin, about the LJL, and let's go over to a lovely place that we always like to start these podcasts on, and that's with the standings. For our audio listeners out there that are walking around, V3 Esports are currently 0-11. They just can't get anything together. The Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks Gaming and AXIZ are now currently tied for 6th place, both being 3-3. Trajectories, though, are very different. AXIZ on a 2-loss streak. The Hawks on a 2-win streak. And tied for 4 teams in 2nd place is Burning Core, Crest Gaming Act, Rascal Jessa, and Sengoku Gaming, all with 7 and 4. Trajectories are all over the place, and we'll be covering that in the roundup. And leading us in 1st place is Detonation Focus Me at 10-1.
There's a 1 there. They lost a game, Lexi.
Oh, that is. And honestly, I think that's what most people would like to hear about first and foremost. So let's just rip off the Band-Aid and get straight into that one. Detonation Focus Me lost the very last game of the day. That was day 11. So for our daily recap, not day 9, not day 10, day 11. Lost it in the last match of the day as well to Rascal Jester. Middlecott, was that a match you happened to catch live, or have you gone back and watched the VOD for it?
I did happen to catch it live, and
did?
I must just say, I was very, very impressed with what Rascal Jester were doing.
Agreed.
Like, for a long time, this split, possibly not so much the last week or so. It's very much felt like it's been Recap who has been the solid focus of this team, right? And if you didn't watch back in summer, Soul and Secret were honestly looking like a major region bot lane and a decent major region bot lane as well. The level they were performing at, but a bit Resident Sleeper to the start of the split, but Soul honestly popped off this game. Recap playing the Zillion as well, a bit more of an enabling pick towards that bot side, and I am so glad that someone handed DFM a loss. Because
that's not the match.
Definitely wasn't vertical. It definitely wasn't vertical. But I was so glad that someone handed DFM a loss, because one of the worries that we had about this team is that with how good that they were looking, that no team in the LJL would really be able to stand up against them. No one would really be able to challenge them and exploit weaknesses that they have. And that means that when you get to international competition, you're kind of going, oh, we don't know what we're bad at, which means we don't know what we need to defend against, which means we kind of just get rolled by these teams that don't get hands checked by us and can play out the game in a strong macro way. So I'm kind of happy for both teams that this result went the way they did, because Rascal Jester have been looking up as well. DFM kind of needed the L.
Yeah, they did, and it was that fantastic performance between every single member of the team really coming through, and a player that I think really set up and honestly did flip the switch a little bit with that first gank onto mid. It was I know went with the Camille, just roamed at like level 4, just blew Yaharon's flash. He's like, what the fuck, bruv? And then later, Hachimecha at 5 then gets to come back in with the flag and drag, actually get a kill there. Recap just gets so far ahead, and it was the first match, and I remember the casters calling this out. I believe it was Infinite Dodge and Melvinizzle, I think, was on the desk.
Yes, I think so.
Not sure who the host was for the day. I apologize.
Oh, we got
it was
a fair
Brackish. I think it was Brackish.
I think it was Brackish as well. Yeah. Apologies to the person who it was if it wasn't Brackish.
Yeah, and I got no idea who produced that show. But anyway, this was a match where really they were on all 4 cylinders, and I remember like 10 minutes in, Yaharong had 2 deaths, and they called it out on production because they were like, hey, Yaharong went all this time, went 10 days with only 2 deaths, and in this game alone he has 6. He literally quadrupled his death count in one game.
Piss Inter. Honestly, like,
I mean,
completely washed. Like, come on, why are we even hyping up this guy?
He just had really bad vision control on his top side, and just still was not tracking as well.
I think,
like that's it boiled down to.
But again, like this is why I'm glad that DFM lost, and I'm glad that they lost now, because this is the perfect time for you to fix stuff looking towards playoffs. Because not only have you got enough time to identify your mistakes, you've got enough time to implement a variety of strategies to fix them, and you've got time for some of those strategies to not work and for you to innovate and improve and iterate on them going towards the playoffs. One of the things that I kind of don't like about our current playoff format is that if you win the split, you've not really got a lot of time to practice, and you've not really got a lot of I guess not time to practice, but you've not got a lot of officials that you can I feel like you've got... No, I like it. Yeah, no, hold on.
Yeah, I was about to give you a bit of pushback there, because I was like, you get the Juggernaut match, mate. You could literally auto go into the finals, and you get to play against everybody in the lower bracket. Like, that's the great thing.
It's just... This is why I'm not normally on the podcast, because I just come out with these small brain takes.
That's where you can have those things, because it doesn't matter, because you can just run it back in like 3 seconds. No one cares. It's a podcast. Who gives a fuck? I give a fuck, though, because it is the podcast. But anyway, I'll correct you, mate. That's why I'm here. That's why.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah. With that said, though, Rascal Jester kind of got momentum going, and they didn't stop it. And that was actually a really good, important thing. Again, it's another fault from DFM. So we saw multiple faults from DFM in this game, because they fell behind. They didn't stem the bleeding, and if anything, they fucking bled out harder as it went on minute to minute.
Yeah.
And that's really important, because I completely agree with you that this is the time to get those losses, because we know DFM can lose a best-of series and then win finals. We've seen that. They can literally almost win out through the regular split.
They've done it to Rascal Jester.
Exactly, right? They lost to Rascal Jester in that Juggernaut match, and then they'll come back in finals. That's what they've done before. I don't think we're going to quite get that with this version of DFM unless something really goes bad. And that's also, unless something really goes bad or another team really steps up, obviously. And then let's actually use that coin, because we've talked so much about it being so bad for DFM, but also so good that they got a loss, because this allows them to try and problem solve. And by the way, Harp's Yumi was kind of sicko mode with one of those kills. Do you remember the kill in bot lane?
Oh, it just like it loops around.
Oh, so clean. But from the other side, Rascal Jester looked like the second best team. Now I'm actually confident in saying that. It was a return to form for them. And the fact is, they're actually kind of in the momentum. They've got the kind of position now to really make a statement, as I feel like their schedule going ahead. If you look forward, I actually think they have a schedule which they could actually be 10-4 next week. Next week on the podcast, I think they could be that. Well, next week on the podcast they've got 4 games because we begin on the 15th.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay, so Rascal Jester have got to face against Burning Core, which I think will be a great matchup for them.
That's a banger.
And then afterwards they got V3, AXIZ, and Hawks.
Yeah. You shouldn't lose any of those last 3 games. I think that Hawks have been on a slight uptick. They did beat V3 and AXIZ in their past 2 games.
They did.
And they were all right wins, which gives me a little bit more faith in them. But yeah, Rascal Jester, they've been on a bit of a streak recently, and they've been doing it against other good teams, which is the most important thing to me. Like, it's very easy to have your record kind of padded when we've got these teams at the bottom of the table that do look so far off the pace. But that is emphatically not what Rascal Jesters have been doing. They have been playing against good teams. They've been winning in pretty strong, pretty dominant fashions a lot of the time. And looking like the second best team.
This
fairly
4-win
comfortably.
streak has Crest Gaming Act win, Sengoku win, DFM win, and a Hawks win. Like, that is top table. Like, Burning Core is literally ending the gauntlet of that, and they probably are heavy favorites to win. I have to imagine most people would assume Rascal Jester should probably beat Burning Core.
Yeah, I've got a lot of opinions about Burning Core at the moment.
We'll come on to them in a moment. But I mean, this was the most obvious place to start. Like, Rascal Jester beating Dead Nation Focus Me. It means our Juggernaut match, regardless of who is in second, because I don't care about what anybody else says. DFM will be first. Yeah, unless something really terrifying happens, and that's bad for our region as a whole, may I add. DFM fall apart. Like, we don't have Hawks as a super team at this moment in time. Maybe they will. Maybe this last round robin that's almost upon us can be that run for the Hawks. But we have to wait and see. That a few wins over bottom teams doesn't change anything for us. As long as some other team steps up, we'll have a banger of a Juggernaut match, which means normally our finals are always good as well. So that's where I feel it. Man, it feels good that Rascal Jesters are back on top, because it was a bit worrying.
Oh, yes. It's so refreshing. Like, I guess refreshing is the wrong word, but we had really high expectations of this team coming into spring. And we were disappointed. And I think we were right to be disappointed, because given that 4 out of the 5 players on the roster stay together, and with Eno coming in the top side, I feel like that is sort of a solid veteran player that shouldn't necessarily have so many issues.
Not a veteran.
Not veteran, but like a solid player, right? Like, I look at Eno, and I don't think Picinta. I also don't think super hard carry or whatever. So it strikes me as the kind of guy that can slip fairly comfortably into a team. Has had a couple of carry performances before.
That knocked
mate, some of those games were very, very gross.
AXIZ last year. Anyway.
AXIZ summer last year.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think they could have been stronger, should have been stronger. And now we're sort of finally seeing that. It's taken a little bit longer than we would have liked for them to get online. But if they continue on this trajectory, then come playoffs, I think we are going to have an absolutely banging Juggernaut match.
And I'll be real, I think this third round robin is a fantastic addition. I fucking hate the schedule. I'll make that very abundantly clear. I'd rather just do Saturday and Sunday and just have 2 8-hour broadcasts. Personally, that works far better for me as a person, and I would prefer that.
Yeah.
But I know we're not going to get that. I know we're not. So, I mean, hey.
Do you know what? You can have your opinion on the schedule. I have mine. Let's.
I hate the new schedule, but
I love it. It's so good for me.
It's so good for you.
I don't work weekdays, so I could just turn up and do stuff. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you only miss Sunday, which is 4 games. You're like, who cares?
Whatever. Make sure I'm making sure that I'm free for the
You're
the
looking
finals
towards, yeah.
I'm not having a repeat of last summer, whereas like we get to playoffs and all of a sudden
But
they
you got
decide to
Juggernaut.
swap the day that I got Juggernaut, but they
I will
decided to
always
swap
get-
the day that they were running stuff on. So we went from all the broadcast days being on Saturday to all of them being on Sunday, apart from like 2.
Yeah, and
Which was
Saturday,
really
I remember
irritating.
you being busy for the Saturday one as well. Granted, that was the spring as well. Remember, I was dying, and we could. Oh God. Anyway,
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
year was a lot of things. It's not
Yes.
this year. We're in 2022, and we're moving with those positive vibes.
Hell yeah.
You know a team who hasn't got positive vibe though, Middlecott? It's fucking V3 Esports. All right, let's do this because we have to do our brief section on V3. I know. We've got to do our brief section on V3 because let's be real.
Hold on. Recap just chrono shifted me. I'm okay.
They're not here. They're not
No,
here.
they're not.
They're not going to make playoffs. I know they are technically live, but I mean realistically, they have to get 5 wins realistically from now to the end of the split.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right number.
And
can we actually edit that standings graphic so they're just not on it?
I mean, with 10 days left to go, I'm saying they need to get at least 5 wins, and they have to beat V3 and AXIZ, and it's going to be rough. Because they don't have the head-to-head, because they're already 0-2 versus both AXIZ and Hawks now, so yeah.
It's not worked.
What do you think was the main issue, Middle? If you have anything, sir, that you feel like is the reason that it went so bad, why do you think it was so bad? Why does it work out?
This is going to be a fairly basic take, but obviously losing Marble was massive. They were the focal point of this team. They were the person that you looked towards in academy when you needed a carry, and they did it.
Yes.
I think that this far into the split, that shouldn't be a problem now, or that shouldn't be the thing that is holding you back at this point. You've had enough time to reassess your roster, go, okay, who are the key players here? Who can we do stuff around? Who can be the focal point for us? And they just haven't found it. Washidai's had a couple good games. Augio's had a couple good games. Dresscode has had a couple good games. But when you look to a team that's in a sort of similar position in the standings, someone like the Hawks, they've got Dasher.
Agreed.
And you look to AXIZ, they've got Sangchu. And then you look at V3, and there isn't that player there. There isn't that one person standing up that you can really rally around. So I think their goals for the rest of the split, find that person, find that carry. And then maybe when you come into summer, your results are going to look a little bit better.
V3 should bring in Cog between spring and summer. Become the Cog team. He's not playing.
Do you know what? Yeah.
Keep the whole Japanese thing going. I make it your brand. You're a bunch of colleges and universities in Japan, so let's just lean into it more. Let's be super nationalist about this and just be like, we support Japan in the positive way. Jesus Christ,
way.
Jesus Christ, the connotation of that word has been fucked up. Real bad. But that's not what the only definition of it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, gotta be careful.
But like be positive. Be like, we are a Japanese org. We're a Japanese team. We're all Japanese on this roster. Lean into it and I like the idea. Let's build the team around somebody. And Cog is a fantastic figure to do that to, because the man will pull out Ivan Top randomly, right? Like, he is that guy who will do that crazy stuff. He was part of he was that group of the mad professors that we dubbed the mad scientists on the Rascal Jester lineup way back in 2020 spring. Because they were wacky. They would literally throw anything at the wall with crazy drafts, crazy ideas. Cog has been shown to basically be the only spiritual remnant of that. And motherfucker couldn't get picked after being probably second best top in the region. Third.
I agree. I agree with you. And I think that Cog would be cool. I just like the idea that what this team needs is wacky.
I mean, anything, mate, would be better than... whatever. This sad
it's just
thing is to watch,
like
mate.
a very vague fairy tale term that I quite like. I just like the idea that sort of like they're sat there in a roster building meeting. They're just, yeah, what is this? I like these players, but we're lacking whimsy, guys.
Whimsy. I mean, and then Kokog just walks in the room, alpha as fuck, with Chad's sunglasses on, takes a pair of sunglasses off, and he's still got sunglasses on.
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
Like, yeah. Double down. And it's just like,
You got to double down. You got to double down.
Him. We want him now.
Sorry, Washidai. You've been cogged.
But then, in all fairness, I don't think Washidai has been actually a very good top laner. I think he's actually been a bit of a bleeding point, to use an analogy that we've used earlier today.
I'm not a fan. I mean, Lexi, can you not say that about most of the players on this team?
I think there are redeeming qualities for Unica, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Dress Code.
Yeah, their summoner names are all really cool.
Fuck you. But I also think that they have had redeeming factors throughout some of their games. Like I do think these things. Whether I'm right or wrong is completely different, and you're entitled to your own opinions. But I think they are the three players where if you brought in a solid import support and a decent top laner, I think you could have a few wins under your belt. I don't think that is.
I think that's fair.
And don't get me wrong, I like Hatel. I liked him in scouting grounds. He's not quite ready. He's not.
It's that classic thing of, once again, you don't have a rock. You don't have something that you can just play around for free.
You need that Hoglet Honey combo.
You really, really do. You really do.
They showed you could literally have three very talented rookies, and you can just pull them up by the scruff of their neck, and you'll get wins.
We're going to win this game. And we have decided that we are winning this game, and there is nothing that you could do to stop us from winning this game.
Kokog would be that kind of player, man. I believe. I don't know who the support player is. That's the issue. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I don't know. Just import some good Korean support player. And
there's someone on the Korean ladder, like above 400 LP, that could go into this roster and make it a million times better.
I mean, you could just get the LPL not LPL, LCO interviewer, Kimmy, I want to say her name is, because she's challenger like top 10 again on the Australian server. So that's probably equal to Japan server. So I mean, maybe she should be support for V3.
Probably higher to a certain extent. I don't know. I mean, dude, our server population is 60,000. Like, more people go and watch Man United play football. Well, actually, no, that's not a great analogy.
No, that's not even remotely true. In China alone, they have more than 60,000 people watching.
No, but I'm thinking.
Oh, like, you mean in stadium?
In the stadium. Like, you can go to an Arsenal match, and there are more people in that stadium than play League of Legends in Japan. And like, I don't really know how to square that in my head.
You know how we're gonna move on? We're going to start talking about the Hawks, the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks Gaming and AXIZ, because V3 Esports is just a sad thing to talk about. So, Hawks 2-0 win streak, AXIZ 2-0 loss streak, though technically, and I don't know if it was you I was talking to or somebody else, but I basically argued the fact that AXIZ, they only got their win versus V3, so does that technically count? So actually, they haven't won a single game since day 2 of the LJL.
Yeah, I think that AXIZ are not suffering, but benefiting from a little bit of bias in terms of the way that we've talked about them, because they were so good last summer, and they came in with a couple wins versus teams that we didn't necessarily think that were going to be completely weak. If you'd like beating Hawks in week 1, I was looking at that and going, that is damn impressive.
Yes,
but now looking at beating Hawks now, I'm thinking that is slightly less impressive, and they weren't even able to do that.
I mean, it was impossible.
It's impossible.
and that game looked impossible, honestly, from the side of AXIZ to win. Like, I didn't think they were going to win that game, like, after the first few minutes of that match. It wasn't going to be a quick game from the Hawks, but, I mean, it wasn't going to be a good game from them. And, I mean, Raina Rel just fucks differently, mate. Like, I casted that game, and she just fucks different, man. Tell me I'm wrong. Seriously. Yeah. I've broken him.
That's not how you talk about a champion pick, Lexi.
I mean, Reiner, Rail, fucks different. It was so good. Lolly Sports put it onto their highlights.
That was big. That was big. That was very, very cool. Actually.
Like, I mean, that's how much it fucks different, dude.
It was a huge engage right at the end.
Well, and multiple of them. That was the factor, right? He had multiple versions of that kind of ult. He had multiple 2-man, 3-man, 4-man ults. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's pretty good. I mean, it was against AXIZ, so you got to like throw that in there. But it's good. And like, Lino's one of the players that we saw. Whispers, not necessarily whispers, but we saw potential for how good they could be. I think there was a game where Dasher was playing Ari and Lina was playing Rakan, and there were a couple of nice roams into mid lane to secure a couple of kills. I think they still ended up losing the game. But this is one of the differences between Hawks and V3 is that Hawks we're starting to see some of these synergies, some of these coming through. And honestly, generally just people starting to step up, not to the level that Dasher is at quite yet, but Marble's looking better, Linus looking better, and even Blank.
Yes, I mean that was a big part for this match. This was Blank actually having somewhat good pathing, which it felt pretty good. I mean, I still think, I'll be honest, I still think Reiner did the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like Dasher and Marble did the job because the setup was finally there for them. Blank, I'm not willing to give all the credit over to, because I actually think Reiner did most of the work, and Blank was just kind of good. Like, he had a good performance. This still isn't the same Blank that we saw when he played for Sengoku. This isn't the same Blank that played for KT. Like,
Lexi, it is. It is.
Don't feel it, mate, because they're mid laner.
No.
They got no synergy with their mid laner. They got no synergy with their support. It feels different.
It's the super team diff. Let's bring 5 good players together who have never spoken to each other.
I mean, honestly, if they wanted to have more synergy diff, like, what they should have done is just paid out for NT. Just paid out for NT, because then you at least have the Blank NT combo back again. Yeah. Like, I actually think that would have been the better play. I prefer Reiner as a player, and I think they have a higher cap, like, skill level and mechanical level and gameplay level. I just think that Reiner is a better player, but NT has built synergy. So,
and that's worth amount that it's really difficult to sort of put a price on.
Well, especially as, let's be real, mate. They're only going to have this team together for a year.
Yeah. This does not feel like a multi-year project.
Not with this fucking trajectory, is it?
not the way that it's going. I mean, I will say, again, they have been playing better. They have been improving.
Yep.
But their schedule does not look good. And if I had to go up against Sengoku in my next game, I'd be quite scared.
But they need to beat
after that.
They need to beat a team like Sengoku. I mean,
no,
they're not going to.
This is the thing. They don't. As long as they are better than AXIZ and V3, they're a playoff team, and that means they're good.
Sure, if you claim that's the way it goes. Outside of this,
sure it is.
Honestly, outside of V3 losing to AXIZ, I don't see AXIZ actually picking up a single win now. The Toll2 experiment has not been working. He only plays carry champions. That is his whole brand. We saw that in Academy. That's what he does. That's his pool of champions. And the fact that Yellow Yoshi isn't even allowed to be subbed in to play Poppy top or just random tanks top. Pretty weird, champ. I'll be honest with you, mate. Like, what do you get with the vibe of AXIZ? Because I feel like they might just lose the playoff spot that should have been locked to them just because they can't play the game.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust AXIZ's fundamentals that much. I think that they've pulled out a couple of cheese strategies, a couple of more unique ways of playing the game, and if you've got solid fundamentals to back that up, I think that's something that works. But ultimately, if you try and pull out something a little bit spicier and it doesn't work and you don't have stuff that you can fall back on, you just kind of lose. That's what we saw in that Draven game. I can't remember who it was against, but I think it was against Burning Core, where they just like completely focused Tolto out of the game. And at that point, the Draven pick is useless. I don't think he actually played particularly badly, but he wasn't allowed to do what the champ wants to do.
He didn't fucking ward.
He didn't fucking ward. Tolto, start warding.
Please.
But to a certain extent, it's a prioritization of resources, Diff, and I think we had similar things going on with the Akshan this game. And if you're sort of throwing all of this stuff at the wall and it isn't working, then I think you put it perfectly. Don't see them beating anyone else other than V3 for the rest of the split.
It's a bit sad, but I mean, at least it's an experiment. They're trying something.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen this version of AXIZ before, right? Like, we saw this in spring 2021, summer. Assuming they stay with the full roster, all bets are still off, because AXIZ could be a wild card team.
Maybe that's what happens, right? Maybe, like, Sangchu is 2022's Honey, where it was trying to do stuff in spring, not quite able to make it work, and then come into summer and just, oh my word.
Yeah, but the level of talent with the AD carry role might have gotten more competitive than Honey's.
I know, man. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Why have we got such a cracked region in one role? And apparently it's also one of the better roles now in competitive play, which is really weird because AD carry has been so bad in pro play, and now it's just the best thing. And we have like 6 top tier worthy AD carries in my eyes. Like Sangchu was in that lineup for me.
Whoa. Okay.
Like, I actually think he's legit.
So Sangchu's there. I'm assuming dress code isn't.
No.
Marble or Yuhi?
Marble.
Okay.
Marble. Always. I gotta back my boy. Gotta back my boy.
I thought I caught you out there. No. No chance.
Not with Marble on the line, sir.
Of course not.
But I mean, that's where we're at the moment. Hopefully we can see some improvements. And hey, I mean, there's still a lot of games to play for, 10 games still, and I can definitely see AXIZ sniping somebody, because that's just how this stuff kind of works. We've discussed the bottom 3 teams. We covered the top 1. There was a reason to doing this order, ladies and gentlemen, because there is that 4-way tie of Burning Core, Crest Gaming Act, Rascal Jester, and Sengoku Gaming. You've got a lot of opinions on some of these teams. Obviously, you'd love to gush about CGA, I imagine.
Oh, I'd love to. What
order would you want to go in? What order of teams?
Do you know what?
I'll give you first dibs.
I think I might do a power ranking style. I think that's where we're going to go through. We'll go through them in my sort of like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I can have a little bit of a fight with you about that.
Okay. Have you got a power ranking?
So. We'll just. Do you want me to just like list out all the teams and then we can sort of go through each individually?
Yeah. Go for it.
So, for my first place, second place team, Rascal Jester. I don't think anyone is particularly surprised about that. They have looked very, very good last few weeks. My second place team, sort of like second squared, I guess. CGA, and talk about a little bit more about that why in sort of a couple minutes. Okay. And then rounding out sort of third and fourth, I feel like it goes Sengoku and then Burning Core. In terms of just the level that they're playing at now, I really have not been impressed with the way that Burning Core have been drafting. I've not been impressed with the way that they are sort of playing around their teams. And I've noticed in my Discord view that you can't see yet that a tier list maker has been brought up. So I'm going to have to answer for all of these opinions, which is just fine, which I'm okay with. But let's see. It's 2021 spring. What are we talking about there? What is that logo? I'm not sure I recognize.
We all know what this stuff actually is. We all know what this stuff actually is, right? So I've just brought this up for video people. They've seen me awkwardly produce this on the side because I forgot to actually remove things. But hey ho, what doesn't matter? So you put DFM and Rascal Jester in top tier.
Yes.
And you put CJ in A tier or tier 2, and then you put every Sengoku the next tier down?
Sengoku Burning Core, I think, rounding out B tier.
Right.
And then we put Hawks and is there like a letter after C?
D.
No.
Do you want me to add another?
I was gonna say between C and D. Oh Lord, Lexi. No, but so I think like then we talk about Hawks being possibly C or D tier, and then AXIZ one below them, and then V3 one below them. I think that's probably the fairest way of doing it, because that's just how it works, and we won't have an E tier because what's going on with V3? What's happening there?
I'm struggling, mate. All right, there we go. There we go.
It's all a bit weird. It's all a bit weird.
There we go. That's your tier list. So that's what we're saying.
Boom, easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So I have a different one.
You've got a different one. Okay.
I have a different one.
That's really cool, Lexi.
Well, I mean, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? You're like, oh, that's cool, mate. Cool. I don't care. But okay. Right. So this is my one that the lovely ladies and gentlemen on the internet can see that. My one's a bit smaller, but I've got DFM in S tier, like above everybody else. And then...
hold on. Did I put Rascal Jester in the S tier as well? Because I didn't mean to.
Well, that's what I thought you had.
That's what I thought. Okay, so do you know what? No, I'm happy to defend that. I'll defend that. Yeah, go on then. Fuck it. No. Rascal Jester's are S tier now. That's my opinion.
I mean,
that's
fucking wrong, obviously, but that's fine, mate. You're allowed that. So obviously, to round me out, I go RJ, Crest Gaming Act in A tier. Sengoku, Burning Court, and Hawks are all B tier because they're the teams that I all think are going to make it, and then AXIZ and V3. So in actuality, we basically even out to around the same place.
Our order is the same, but the exact placing I think is different.
Yes, because you have RJ with DFM, and then CJ on a land of their own, and then you've added a tier because you wanted a distinction between Hawks and Burning Core and Sengoku, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
So I mean, the one that you're claiming to defend is Rascal Jester and DFM both in S tier. After we just gushed about them for a solid 5 minutes about this team being so good, go on, explain why.
Well, I mean, Rascal Jester literally just beat DFM. So if we're not putting them on the same tier, then we are literally trolling. That's how it works. If a team can beat another team, they are as good as, if not better than that team. And that's how being a team works.
Yes. As someone that has played lots of team games in my life, never played any.
If one team beats another team, that means the team that beat the team is better than the team that lost to the team.
I love that we're not on the actual broadcast, so we don't actually have to give real opinions on anything.
This is a real opinion. It's just a bad one.
I mean, but that's fine. You can. I mean, that's the beauty of this, right? That's the great thing about a tier list. I mean, last time, I believe around summer, around this kind of time, and I was tempted to do this. We did a community ran power rankings, like tier list of every single player and their roles and everything. I mean, I'd struggle to rate some players at this moment in time until we actually have the third round robin.
I was actually having this conversation. I was doing some prep with Oak, and I was literally saying, some of these players I've not really got an opinion of. Because, I mean, kind of brown bread, kind of been there, kind of been doing their thing, and not doing it particularly offensively, but that's not making me fall in love with them either.
That's a C grade, I believe. You passed.
Something like that.
That was most of my grades in school.
They're not doing C grades anymore. It's numbers. It's all a bit...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had numbers when I was in secondary school and stuff. Like 9A was the very top. No. The grading stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So it was like 9A was the top of the top. And I got that once in music class and it meant fuck all.
Yeah. No. I remember. Like, because it's they've got the number letter grades and then they swap it to...
just letters.
And now it's just... I don't know.
And then you get to university and they do it just by out of 100. And it's like... Why did I do all this other system? And then in actuality, the university system made the most amount of sense.
Yeah.
But something that doesn't make a lot of sense is the fall from grace that has been Sengoku Gaming over these last few days. Because they haven't looked anywhere near as hot. And honestly speaking, I think part of the issue is because Jet just doesn't seem like he's the insurance policy that they could rely upon. Granted, he's not been put in spots to actually do that, so that's part of the issue here. But what's your interpretation on Sengoku Gaming at this moment in time?
So it's quite a weird way to talk about an insurance policy, but he needs to be playing riskier champions. Like, I don't want to see Jet on Oriana or Rise or these sort of long range or any of these mages. I want to see him on Akali. I want to see him on Silas. Stuff that he can actually brawl, stuff that he can actually demonstrate his mechanical prowess on and exert pressure on the enemy mid lane. And we're talking about AD carry being a role which is particularly strong within the LJL at the moment. And I actually think that whilst mid lane has some good players, in general, the role doesn't blow me away in terms of pure strength. But people like Kaito and Megabin have been a little bit off the pace. And then even some of our better players like Recap, and I think Yaharong to a certain extent, have got very specific ways that they like to play. And very specific styles that they opt into. Obviously, Recap is pretty much just control mages, and if you can exert pressure onto him with something like an Silas or an Akali, you can actually get bits done. And he's just not been given the tools to do that so far, which is honestly kind of perplexing to me.
Yeah, I mean, Sengoku went 1-2 this week. He played a game on Rise versus DFM. Didn't work out so well, but DFM also looked really good that game. So, Also, you just didn't even get Honey going because NT literally ran that game down, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that just happens. And it's something I want to talk about towards the end of the podcast is the single game sample size and why DFM losing that one game doesn't really mean much in the grand scale of things and everything else, because I think that's just something that people need to remember and get checked in on. He did, Jet did play a game of Ari. He went Frozen Hearts. Everfrost.
Everfrost.
That's what it's called.
Zhonya's, I think.
Yeah,
and
so
just,
we can go. We all know the opinion on that.
Still, it's not a damage build. I want to see him do damage.
Yeah, he did get to play a game of Yone versus Kaito. But Kassin was ready for him more than anything else, I feel like.
To a certain extent, I actually think that Kaito played that matchup relatively well.
I think so too, yeah.
He's looked stable on picks like the Syndra, which has been the big thing for me for Kaito. I was scared that he was going to get rolled when he came into the league. But it hasn't
I think he will
really
in playoffs.
happened as much.
I think people aren't banning him out because they don't even need to.
Well,
anyway, Sengoku Gaming. 1-2, bit disappointing. Honey got kind of unfortunate spotted in a lot of times where NT just wasn't really there to back him up, and then when it wasn't there, a lot of discommunication, like discoordination rather, not communication, coordination between the side of Sengoku. And honestly, Paz is starting to show the volatility that he is sometimes.
Yes, what a good word there. Good word for sometimes not playing well.
Yeah, because when
this is the entire thing about Sengoku and why I've had a lot of issues talking about them and describing them, coming up with things to sort of put people in is personally that they're a team that doesn't speak to me in the way that they play a lot of the time. I am very much himbo play-by-play. I want action. I want things to occur. If a team is willing to burger flip stuff, honestly, that makes me like them more. And Sengoku have just felt like a standard team that is a little bit worse. Well, that is worse than DFM.
Yeah.
I don't really know where to go with that.
No, I mean, I think that puts it very succinctly. I mean, Sengoku Gaming, they are a decent roster. If they end up being top 3 at the end of this season,
no one's surprised.
Nope, no one would be surprised. They'd be like, yeah, they're a solid lineup. Looking at the nameplates, everyone should be in like a top 3, top 4 kind of spot. Yeah, that business as usual. If they don't make that though, and they get out in the first round of playoffs, there's going to be some disappointment.
There's questions to be asked.
Yeah, unless it's a banger best of 5. Then it's just kind of like, you kind of can look at it and go, oh yeah, that was sick. Like Burning Core DFM back in 2021, where Yuki actually had a good split. Good playoffs, actually. No, he didn't have a good split. He had a good playoffs match versus DFM. That was it.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Yes, we will.
Not a good week, though, for Sengoku Gaming. A team, though, that had a better week, and we almost started chatting about them, but we had to finish. Is Crest Gaming Act, because they went 2-1 this week. They beat Burning Court, lost, sadly, to Rascal Jesters. But I mean, on the other side of that match, remember with Jets Yone and Honey going 1-5-5 on that Tristana, Crest Gaming Act 2-1, and they look kind of killer at the moment, Middlecott.
Yeah. So a little point to sort of the 2-1 record.
Please.
We had 2 games of CGA being proactive in the early game, identifying win conditions and playing towards them. The loss versus Rascal Jester, if you go back and watch the VOD, it was a lot slower. The proactivity from Kasin really, really wasn't there. But when this team has been on, they have been playing around bot lane so heavily, and it has looked very, very impressive. Hybrid has been just taking names, just ruining people. And the fact that he was able to do it against Sengoku, against Honey, of all people, who was the summer MVP for his play on AXIZ, for how good he was at AD carry. Crest Gaming Act, for me, feel like a team that you have to beat to put yourself into the conversation at the top of the table.
Yes.
Because their play style, or what's been working for them, very, very, very simple. Enable Hybrid, get him as far ahead as possible. Kasin gets a bunch of kills, just ruins the enemy jungler as well, and then they win. If that doesn't happen, then they sort of walk around for like about 30 minutes, and then because Kaito and Nap generally aren't going to be generating their own leads, they lose the game.
Yeah, they are a team that absolutely struggle when the game gets drawn out a bit over them. Unless it was versus Hawks or V3 or AXIZ to a point. Crest Gaming struggled versus the top half teams. Like it didn't seem like it was always clean, and I think their Rascal Jester game perfectly sums up a lot of their issues. Which does mean they've now got tape to go back and be like, don't do this, don't do X, Y, and Z. The issue is they already had tape on those X, Y, and Z problems, and they haven't fixed them yet. Now they've got 10 games ahead of them. They've got lots of time. Do you think they're actually going to fix the problems? Because I am of the opinion that they actually can't fix the issues. Not this soon. I don't think they've got enough time to fix the issues.
If the question is, are you going to turn Kaito and Nap into hard carry players? Well, I'd argue that Nap's Gwen can be a very, very strong champion, but given the
Gwen nerfs coming,
given the Gwen nerfs, that's not really going to be the case. So, can you turn Kaito and Nap into that into insurance policy, into a secondary carry for the team? No. It is straight up my answer. I think that maybe there is something there playing solo lanes with good gank setup to allow Kasin to get fed on the other side of it. I think that's a possible angle there. But it really is bot lane or bust. And we've had teams that have been able to make that strategy work, been able to push themselves pretty deep into playoffs, playing that very, very simple style.
I mean, Crest Gaming Act, that's what they were brought up on over the last few seasons. We've just played through mid.
Play through mid. Let Nathan or Aria carry.
Yep.
And try not to lose too hard on the other side. Key difference, though, this split is that they don't have a lane which is just losing every game. Kaito and Nap aren't winning matchups.
True.
They're not winning matchups. They're not exerting pressure. But similarly, they're not falling behind 2,500 gold like someone did last year every single game. So they're coming. They're able to play out the early games a little bit better, and they can transition a bit more strongly into the mid game. But this is sort of why I have them as this. You must be this high to ride the being an actual good team ride. That's never going to catch on at Thorpe Park or whatever. But they're a yardstick, and if you beat them, then I can say you're a team that can identify what the enemy wants to do and stop them from doing that and play to your own win conditions and all this cool stuff. If you lose to them, well, bloody hell, guys, what the hell did you think that they were going to do this game? It's very, very obvious, and you didn't stop them doing it. You are silly.
So, my question then, kind of looking at it, because obviously you are the fan and I am the pundit, the one asking questions and kind of going, yes, interesting, yes.
Yeah.
Now let me understand better for whatever reason. I need to know where you actually think they're going to get in playoffs, because I think they'll make playoffs. I'm of the opinion from what you just said, they shouldn't be making it past the first round, because teams should be prepared for them now. They just shut down.
Fuck you, Lexi.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Like, you just track Sin in the jungle and prevent bot lane, and you don't have to worry about the match anymore. Get deep vision early game, prevent bot lane from snowballing, and yeah.
Lexi, I agree with you, but who is going to do that?
DFM, Rascal Jester, Sengoku. Those three teams will do that.
You have listed 2 teams that aren't going to be in the first round because they're going to be playing in the Juggernaut match.
Yeah.
Likely going to be Rascal Jester.
And DFM.
And DFM, obviously. Maybe Sengoku. Maybe. But on the other side, I think that Crest Gaming Act probably finishing in the top half of playoffs, so they're going to be seeded against someone who's a little bit weaker, who maybe doesn't do that sort of thing. Someone like a Burning Core or perhaps a Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks game.
No!
So I'm happy. I'm happy with how we're going to progress. We're going to get easy top 4, and then if we lose in a banger best of 5 to, I don't know, Sengoku or someone, I'm happy.
It's going to be real sad for you if Hawks are actually looking good when they go into
I'm ready to get 0-3'd. I'm ready to get 0-3'd.
That is the terrifying thing, because any of these teams that make playoff in the bottom 4 could make a run.
Yeah.
And like, I legitimately think there is an urn out there where one of these teams just like looks way better than they did in the regular season and absolutely come out the game and do like a really deep run. Like, they could actually make it to finals. We've never had that, but I think with how competitive we're looking, it is a viable thing. And there is a legitimate thing in competition. If you play for a lot of games and you run the gauntlet, momentum is a real thing. And I think these teams could genuinely carry it in. We'll have to see. I think whoever you're going to face against in the finals, it's probably going to be DFM. If it's not DFM, you've got to go through DFM. And that's a terrifying prospect in and of itself. Crest Gaming Act, yeah, I think top 4 is reasonable. Yeah. That very much will depend for me, though, who their first round is against. If it's against something like a Sengoku or a Rascal Jester, I think it's pretty boned. But if it's against like a Hawks or an AXIZ,
there's 2 teams that I think they happily beat. There's 2 teams that I think they have a much harder time beating.
Let's talk about the team that we've been skirting around a lot. Let's go and talk about Burning Core, because this is a team that a lot of people have very strong opinions, and when I talk to some people about them, they go, "Oh my god, Burning Core is my favorite team. They're so good right now." And then you get the opposite side where you get the Burning Core hater, and they go, "Actually, I think Burning Core is just really bad. They didn't just have a bad week; they are not a good team." Burning Core had a win to end their day off versus V3 Esports. However, it was one of the worst matches in LJL history. It's going up there. It goes on the plaque that is Sengoku Burning Core.
We need an actual plaque of
we do
just VODs that you shouldn't ever watch.
I casted this match of Burning Core versus V3 Esports, and the funny thing is, Burning Core back-to-back speed ran the LJL and then tried to go for the longest world record. They had the back-to-back fastest 2 matches in the LJL, losing a game to Kreska in decisive fashion. Kreska, this is one of the matches where you look and go, damn, CJ look fucking sicko mode. Yeah. And then you look at it and go, and then you watch this next game and then they go, oh man, DFM is in sicko mode. 22 minutes, one of the fastest games overall in the world in like minor region play. Like, not the fastest from my understanding. I believe there's a 20-minute match, but up there. Like, and when LPL has so many games, it's just like, of course, there's going to be some random stomp.
It's cheating.
It is. It really is.
Like, if you've got a league with 17 teams in it, like, I feel like all the metrics are just going to get taken by an LPL team.
Also, odd number. So weird.
Oh, what? And a prime number as well. Not even a good odd number. Not even an odd number that gives me a little bit of solace. It's a prime number. It's so cursed.
Just go to 18 teams, LPL.
I want LPL every year. I want them to increase the value of the prime number that they've got in terms of number of teams in their league. And then once we start getting pretty far down the line, eventually you start being able to create encryption codes and and keys. Using the
just based on match results,
yeah, using it's
what week of the LPL did you play? Week 3. It was day number 2 because you have to have 18 games in one day.
Yeah.
It's God, imagine you just have every caster in the world casting those matches at one point. I mean, there we go. We figured out Riot's issue for casters. Just have everyone do LPL.
Everyone casts LPL. Everyone.
In reality, coming back to this match, Burning Core versus V3 Esports was horrible. And I had legitimate moments in a game going, I actually think V3, if they have a decent team fight here, they could win the game, because I actually said this on broadcast. Death timers are so long and item builds are so far on, V3 can win this now. And when I had thought that and I realized it and said it, I was like, oh God, we're in bad territory. We are
bad
in
things have happened.
Like, this is not it. And the fact is, V3 are the team that lose in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Burning Core, they had a couple good weeks. And then I don't know what's really happened with Flawless. He's just felt so far off the pace. I don't know if it's a case of it being a champion pool thing, because he switched from sort of Karthus Diana every game, and I think those are being banned against him a lot, to be fair.
I mean,
and he's been more on stuff like the Trundle and the Volibear, which looked all right just by the nature of the champions, or the Hecarim too, but he's not looked particularly comfortable on them. He's sort of looked a little bit lost in terms of his CSing. It's not as efficient as it could be.
Agreed.
And they're also giving a lot of priority to Yuhi in draft, giving him like stuff like the Zeri, which is like, okay, if you really want to do that, that's fine by me.
Zeri player, man.
He's not, and he's been fine on stuff like the Jinx and the Aphelios because they're not as punishable in lane. But if you're trying to put draft resources into Yuhi, and then you're having Flawless on champions that he's not particularly comfortable on, that just feels like a recipe for disaster for me, because you don't have a lane that you're really playing towards properly, and the lane that you're not really playing towards properly is getting absolutely fisted in the 2v2s and the 3v2s with the enemy jungler. If CGA's if the games that CGA have been playing have shown a blueprint on how to beat them, their game against Burning Core showed a perfect blueprint of how you beat Burning Core. Yuhi, whilst he's looked half decent this split, is still going to be a liability if you just keep ganking him and keep pressuring him. And Burning Core aren't getting anything else on the other side of the map, so you're free to.
Well, that's why he's not in the top 6 AD carries. hey, fuck you. You know I'm right because you know Marvel can play more from behind at the moment.
You know
and
what?
I hate being this fucking Yuki hater. I do.
No, you don't. No, you don't, Lexi.
I mean, I revel in it. But at the same time, just because I revel in something doesn't mean I enjoy it. I revel in the fact of it. But I want to be proven wrong because the LJL is my favorite region, right? Like
I had no idea.
Well, I mean, LCS is actually probably my favorite region.
What?
I come from the Bay Life era, all right. So I'm a different kind of old man. I'm an old codger, mate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
But anyway, LJL.
All right.
You yeah, this just turned the podcast tone in a very weird direction.
I've just sat next to someone who said Bay Life, so I don't really know how to move on from that. But we'll try.
No one does at the moment. No one
does.
That's the issue with TSM right now, mate. But you have to have a presentation about Bay Life, and I'm not shitting you. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Man. Where have I taken us? Anyway, fuck it, Bay Life, back over to Burning Core, because I mean that's the attitude you've got to go with. And this was a team, remember, that was 7 and that was basically 6-2 coming into this week. This is not a great week from them. A 1-2 week, and it's not the same kind of bad week that Sengoku had going 1-2. This is the kind of week where you look at it and go, this is terrible. You got your 1 win versus V3 in awful fashion. Like, legitimately awful fashion.
Yeah.
You lost decisively versus both Detonation Focus Me. Okay, that's expected. And Crest Gaming Act. That's not as expected. And it was in the back-to-back identical ways. And then you almost lost versus V3 Esports. Like, I'm sorry. You're losing games in aspects that we weren't expecting. This is not the Burning Core we were expecting. And importantly, I want to highlight 2 players who have upset me the most with their lack of performance. Flawless and Dice have been the most upsetting 2. Because honestly, this was the worst week we've seen from those 2 players. Because they had normally been, oh, well, if things go a little bit bad in the bot lane, don't worry, Dice and Flawless will get it out. No. They look like they've lost their hands. And their brains, because they don't even seem to have macro down anymore. Which, like, they used to always have mechanical stuff. They've lost how to play the game as well. And hey, weeks are like that sometimes.
Yeah.
We need to see a big turnaround from Burning Core, because after this, I'm gonna need it. The next 4 games, Middlecott, right? Let's have a quick gander at the Burning Core next 4 games, because I think that will be a lovely place to take us. How bad is it for them? Because you're already chuckling.
I mean, it's not great. It's not great. So
go for it.
Rascal Jester.
Okay, that's
tomorrow.
not great.
That's an L.
That's probably an L, yeah.
Then Sengoku.
That's probably an L.
Probably an L. Then Hawks.
That's
actually
probably an L. Okay.
Probably an L.
Probably an L.
Jesus Christ. And then CGA.
That's definitely an L.
It's definitely an L.
That's definitely an L. Ha.
But then day 16, V3, baby. Woohoo!
We get an awful match. That might be V3 winning. Oh, that's an L. Oh no.
It's just that. Well, there's no more teams, Lexi. That's it. Unless you're telling me that they're going to beat DFM. Like, no.
No, they can beat AXIZ. I actually give them more chance to beat AXIZ, because AXIZ will just do something really wacky. The AXIZ will play their own game, and thankfully for Burning Core, that's a good thing. No, that's a good thing, Middlecott, because they're going to play their game, which means they're not going to do the blueprint that every other team is playing. They're going to just throw Toll 2 on some stupid bullshit, and they'll be like, win the game, because every other team's doing it, and then suddenly Flawless and Dice go, wait, we're not getting counter-invaded? Wait, we're not getting oppressed? Wait, we can rotate around the map? Wait, the mid laner's not leaving lane randomly? Wait, our bot lane isn't getting, like, just hard punished for the first 5 levels of the game? Oh, well, AXIZ, thank you, we can win now. And Swamping Sangshu are just like, I hate this fucking team.
I would counter that if you give 100 monkeys 100 typewriters, and I don't know if that's giving each individual monkey 100 typewriters, because I don't understand how they'd be able to operate that many typewriters as an individual monkey.
Clip, have you? It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times.
The blurst of times. It was
stupid monkey.
But 100 monkeys, 100 typewriters.
Yes.
eventually, one of the weird things that AXIZ is doing is going to work.
Yeah, that was the first 2 days, mate.
That was the first 2 days, actually, yeah. Fair enough. But could work again. Everyone loves a comeback. Everyone loves a reboot. We could get J.J. Abrams in this bitch.
Yeah.
And if there's a team that is going to lose to some stupid shit, I reckon it'd be Burning Core.
Yeah, so are Burning Core going to win another match? Hot take right now, Middlecott. Are they going to do it?
Of course they're going to win another match. Jesus Christ.
How long until they win that match?
Oh, I don't know.
Name
6
a team.
minutes. 6 minutes. They're all going to play a flex queue game. I don't know. Now. And they're going to win it.
I think Burning Core are going to lose every game until they beat DFM. There you go.
Oh, that's a clip for Twitter.
Yeah.
That's
that's one to download, save, and then if it happens.
I completely agree with you, Lexi.
Yes.
What a brilliant point that you've made.
The correct side of history. We'll see if that comes to bite us back or not. Or if anyone wants to at us when we get it wrong. I mean, I'll take both ways. I'll take it really.
Hey, it's more interactions. Hell yeah.
Exactly. I think we've talked about every team to ad nauseum amount of levels.
Yeah,
so
a reasonable amount of time. Yeah.
Let's go over and check any of those podcasty questions. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can ask lovely people questions. We do these podcasts every single day of Tuesday. So you can, I almost said it the wrong thing, but I caught it there. You can ask us questions by joining our lovely Discord server. Links are always in the show note descriptions. If you're watching this live on Twitch, hit one of those banners down below or in the YouTube comment section. It's also down in the description down below.
It's everywhere.
Comment, subscribe. Make sure you rate us 5 stars. Give us a rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We all appreciate it, and we might even give you a call out if you do that. Though you can also ask us questions by going #LJL podcast. We have got questions. The issue is Discord went down just as the podcast went live. But we've actually got. I can actually see them on my account, just not. The LJL
we've got them. Okay, Pogarinos.
Our first one comes from Resident Twisted Fate player. I believe that's Vasooooo on Twitter. Vasooooo.
Yes.
They ask us, Middlecott, any champions in particular you'd like to see in the LJL meta?
I mean, come on.
I mean, Aria, right? Bear slap.
Udyr, of course, Udyr. Like
slap bear. No, it's slap bear.
Champion is very, very good right now. Has a couple of rough matchups, particularly the Volley Bear, which is a little bit yikes.
Lol Bear, yeah.
Lol Bear. I'm a big fan of Lol Bear. But no, Udyr is really, really cool. His ganks are incredibly impactful. His farming is very strong. His objective taking with Sunfire Aegis is very, 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 very good. Don't go Chem Tank and Phase Rush. You're inting if you do that. Ghost, Sunfire Aegis, and either a Lich Bane or a Frozen Heart with Conqueror, and you are with Lethal Tempo, and you are Gucci. So yes, Udyr.
He also will be getting some buffs in the coming future because the VFX is coming. So I mean,
yes, the rework. I'm very excited for that. Actually,
he will get big buffs,
big boy buffs.
For me, I'm already seeing Diana. I already see Leona. You know what? All right. I want my big booby lady. I want Sona in. There we go. She's like my other main. I've already had my e-girl, dark girl of Diana. I've had the happy-go-lucky blonde girl of Leona. And now I want my big titty girl of Sona. And then eventually I'll get my flat-chested girl of Talia. Talia's technically trans, so fuck it. Whatever. Talia. Give me Talia.
Trans?
Well, she is, but not in the LPL, remember.
Ah, okay. I did not know that. That's very cool. And also very sucky that she's not in the LPL.
Well, no, they had to rewrite her whole lore because of it.
Yeah.
LOR lore had to get rewritten, sadly. But to me, she's still trans.
Yeah.
And to me, she's still flat-chested, so it still fucking works, the whole analogy. Anyway,
Puggers!
I like Talia! I actually really like terrain-based champions that change how the fucking terrain works.
That's cool, actually. That's cool. I do like that.
I love it. Like, it's why I'm so happy J4's back in the meta, because he's another terrain-based champion. And guess what? Terrain is an interesting resource, and that's why I really like Infernal Drake.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I do like that.
Changes
like
the meta and everything. I didn't play League of Legends, though, when Chemtank was out, because that fucks the terrain. Just no terrain. What's the point of it?
So glad that they got rid of that.
Looking forward to the rework, though.
Yes.
Yeah, Sona. Sona's my answer to that question.
I have just seen that in chat, Brackish is talking about Shyvana. Yeah, do you know what? A little bit of Shyvana. Not that AP bullshit, though. You got to give me...
the Bwippo build, right?
I want some Bruiser. I want some Bwippo.
Yeah.
I don't know what Bwippo built, but like, give me Bruiser Shyvana, and I'm happy.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Yes. Hina, lovely in the Twitch chat. Daddy 10 cent, shut it down. Yeah, Big Daddy 10 cent said no.
Sag.
Hashtag trans lives matter. There we go. We're not with Riot yet, so or currently are. So yes. No affiliation with Riot.
We're allowed to have based opinions about things.
Yes. Next question comes to us from Umi. With a 4-way tie for second place, who is making it for the top 3 alongside DFM? And why is it CGA, Middlecott?
Well, I think we answered this a little bit further back. So, yeah, DFM, obviously first place. I can't remember who I said. Rascal Jester in second. They look like they've got their shit together. Recap is a carry option. Soul is a carry option. You've got 2 really good players. That's all you need. And the rest of the map is stable, which is the most important thing. CGA... kind of feel a little bit like Rascal Jester. Obviously, they are much faster paced, but instead of having 2 carries, they have got 1. But the 1 carry that they've got is very, very fucking good. And that's why they're going to be the 3rd place team.
So put all your stuff into Hybrid and Nemo.
Work for AXIZ. Work for AXIZ in summer.
It really fucking did, yeah.
It really did.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Fair enough. CGA saw what AXIZ did and said, we'll do that.
I'm ready for another best of 5 where we see 5 AD carry bans. I want to see that again, because even if you lose that, the mental warfare, the power that you have exerted against your opponent is.
The fact that they did that to Honey. That was.
I felt bad. I felt bad for the kid.
But that is also such a huge amount of respect from that coach and team as a whole to just be like, nope.
From DFM, nonetheless, like you could have very easily, like just played that bot lane out nice and even with Utapon and Gang back then. But no, they recognized the threat that Honey posed and they targeted him out for that.
Yeah, why risk it for a biscuit? Just do it cleanly.
Don't let the good player on the enemy team play the game.
Yeah. My top 3 is going to be DFM, Rascal Jester, same as you, Middlecott, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and say Sengoku. Just because Jet Honey, if they can get that combo going again, I reasonably feel like that should be a team that should be set up. Also, Enchi is the top 3 king, so I feel like let's get him back to the top 3 stage where he always is. Let's regain some Sengoku vibes, because the last year and a half for Sengoku's been
not been good. It's
fucking rough one.
I did like that. I heard the beginning of a B on your lips there. But then I remember that you said that Burning Core weren't going to win another game until they next beat DFM. So
yeah,
it's going to be rough. Going to be an interesting path to playoffs, actually, that one. But
I mean, it's going to be exciting. We're going to have teams like locked in for playoffs really early on, but we're also going to be like, where are they ending up? And everyone's going to be like, I don't know.
I don't know.
And, by the way, if anyone from Riot Japan or LJL is listening to this podcast, please DM myself, Middlecott, Nymera, Initialize, or the LJL accounts, and I'm only saying Middlecott because he's here with me right now. Please DM us the rules or how playoffs tiebreakers are going to be working, because we have zero idea at this moment in time, and the rules are not public. So please, if anyone from Riot or Riot Japan is listening to this, please reach out to us. We'd love to know so we can actually prepare our content effectively. With that, though, we will go on to our final question of the day, and it's coming from Lonely Hikikomori. It's herself. It's Hina. I don't know why she keeps saying she's so lonely. She literally lives in the LJL Discord, so I mean that might be why she's lonely.
It's a good place. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to be. Our welcome parties are quite extravagant.
They are. We will always give everyone a good old welcome. Hina asks us, assuming you guys have at least watched a few other regions, too. I've watched a few. Have you?
I've casted a couple.
Did you have, sir? Quick power rankings, almost for MSI. So obviously we've got the major regions of LPL, LCK, LCS, and LEC. And then we've got all our minor regions of the LJL, CBLOL, LLA, TCL, the LCO, the PCS, and VCS. Sadly, the LCL is excluded for this moment in time until that whole situation
hopefully
is
that will
figured out.
Yeah.
But let's not go too much on
other regions.
Yeah. How are we power ranking other regions at the moment, mate?
So, this is I assume we've not got like an on-screen thing for this. We're just gonna.
I was not prepared enough for this.
That's cool. We'll just kind of shoot the shit. So,
I mean, LCK and LPL, I still think are the top two regions.
Yeah, I don't
personally
think there's no debate about that.
I think LPL is actually better than LCK now. I think LCK is very much carried by the fact that T1 is so
very,
absurdly good. But if you took T1 out, I don't think they actually have the same kind of overall thing. Also, LCK KT fucking subbed out Aria, so by default there was an LPL.
Mate, don't even
That's one way to lose LJL supporters.
Oh yeah, there are dozens of us.
The day that happened, the LJL chat was screaming for Aria. Like, the main stream was screaming that Aria isn't there. Like, the LJL loved Aria. Aria gave everything to get the team to a place in the region, to a place it never been before. And then getting slapped with that.
I think that was why so many people were, like, obviously upset to see him leave. But I don't think anyone was angry. Because, like, when a player is with sort of like a minor region for so long and contributes so much to that team, to the entire region overall. I think there is an expectation that at some point they're going to move on to hopefully bigger and better things. And obviously LCK isn't panning out the way that any of us would have liked for Aria right now. And I think the only thing that we can do is we know that he's going to continue working hard. We know that he's not going to sort of give up and just hope that pays off for him, because it would be a real shame to see this guy stuck in Challenger Series.
Don't worry, he'll be in the LEC. Nymera's going to do some work there. We'll get him into an LEC team. He'll do a Mulrang and he'll be like the best player, and everyone's going to be like, what the? Why is he so good? It's like, this guy's actually cracked.
I like that we've just ignored the tier listing completely. We've gone off on a tangent about Aria.
I mean, we haven't talked about Aria for a while, so I mean, we have to have our gushing Aria segment at some point.
But yeah, so in terms of the major region, I think for MSI, Umi's put a good point that it is only one team from each region.
That's true.
I can't say
that does change my tier list.
Yeah, I can't say that I've been watching LPL religiously, but from what I've seen of LCK, T1 look very, very fucking good. And if there is a LPL team that can beat them, that is very, very cool. But I would be surprised if there is. Again,
that's true. Yeah, I think you're right. LCK first, LPL second.
Purely for MSI. Like, if we're talking about C2, C3, I think that's where.
C4 for LPL even.
Oh, C4, yeah. Well, definitely the sort of 3 years past, I think that's where LPL has had the edge.
Yes.
Their lower seeds have been a lot higher. And when you've got a 17-team league, I think that's only natural. Other major regions,
I think LCS is the worst at the moment.
LCS is...
Even though I think Team Liquid is probably like the best West. Actually, you know what? Wow, this is
Yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah.
LCS is 3rd. LEC is 4th. Wow, MSI's fucked up.
Yeah, it's just when you're only bringing one team, I think it does have much more of an impact. I have never really been too hot on. Yeah, I know, Lexi, I know.
My
But
region's actually good for once. Holy shit, man!
yeah,
Oh.
I mean, Team Liquid are very, very good. And LEC has been weird, like very, very weird. The split.
I think it's actually been great. It's been weird, but it's been great because we're actually
No,
seeing...
no. I think weird is great for domestic viewership, but for international competition, weird scares me. Weird makes me very, very
fair.
worried.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
In terms of minor regions, I mean, the only ones that I've seen like some half decent tape of are VCS, LJL, CB LOL, and a little bit of LLA. LLA is bad. Like, just no. Like,
Yeah, I think
need
they're
to.
the bottom of my tier list.
They are. It's just not good.
I don't think Turkey has any teams that have blown me away from clips and stuff that I've seen and highlights that I occasionally
from what I've
watch.
seen, from what I've heard, TCL has not really been up there.
I'll be honest. I'm willing to put it out there. I think LJL with DFM currently looking like one of the better regions coming into MSI as a minor region. It's really hard for us to gauge VCS because it's been so long and since they've played on an international scale or stage or anything.
I think we need to be very, very scared of VCS.
I mean, you should always be scared of VCS. But it's been so long since we've seen them. Have they regressed too far? Because that is a very genuine concern when you actually go to an international competition.
I think that's fair. I think that the setup that VCS has for itself, they're quite fortuitous. Obviously, a lot of the top teams are able to scrim against teams in the LPL and stuff like that. So whilst they have been missing out on the international events, I think the level that the top of the region will have regressed probably isn't significant.
True.
The bottom of VCS still looks like just fist fighting and bad, and I mean it always has done. But Gigabyte Marines are a very, 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 very good team.
Agreed.
And I think that unless you are LPL or LCK, you need to be worried about them because they can play clean macro, but they are also just willing to hands check you and fight you for every single advantage.
See, that's where I feel like TL just kind of don't give a fuck because they've got better hands most of the time.
They do have some damn good hands. But
TL!
But it's a stylistic thing as well. And so, like, I'm going to sort of take like a minute or so on the VCS. A lot of people think that the VCS is a flipper region, that the teams all fight over nothing and it's just whoever happens to land heads on the last fight of the game will win the match. And this is a criticism that a lot of people had of LPL, especially a few years ago.
Yes.
And if you've noticed, those sorts of criticisms have died down recently because people have started to realize that the LPL teams, yes, they're playing very aggressively. Yes, they are constantly trying to hands check you, but it's just because they are contesting more things. And that means that your vision setups that you want to put out nice and cleanly and nice and tidy, you can't do that versus a VCS team because they recognize the importance of establishing vision before a Drake and they don't want to let you do it. And so a team coming from a more slow-paced region, like the LCS, like the LGL in many aspects, I think that can catch these teams off guards because you want to set up for Herald, you just want to take it for free, you anticipate that the enemy team are going to trade it for like a Drake or a tower, and the VCS are going to go, no, we want this objective, and we know that you're not setting up for it in necessarily the cleanest way, so we're going to come in here, we're going to make it very, very difficult for you to play the game, and we're going to gain advantages in places where you didn't think that you were going to be losing anything. So I think that's the thing that you need to be scared for the VCS teams. They are going to hands check you. They think that more things are worth fighting for than most other regions, which means that you always need to be thinking a couple steps ahead versus them.
But the VCS have a huge fucking asterisk next to whoever they send.
Yes.
Because I don't understand. I'm not going to pretend I understand how it all works. But the SEA Games is happening, and every single team in the VCS, I believe, are mandatory to play in it.
Yes, they are.
And as such, there is a genuine concern that Gigabyte Marines might qualify for the SEA Games, which means they would have to veto their spot going to MSI, which means they then don't go to MSI, and it means their second seed goes, which means VCS won't be sending their strongest team to MSI. It means Worlds is still very much on the table for Gigabyte Marines.
Yeah.
It just means they might be a big fish in a small pond as opposed to smaller fish in bigger pond, for lack of a better analogy.
And that has led to a couple of weird scenarios. I'm not sure what the SEA Games standings are looking right now in terms of the qualifiers.
To top 4.
They've cut to top 4. But I do remember hearing that actually the last place VCS team was currently first in the qualifiers because...
they've dropped. They're already out now.
They're already out now. Well, yeah. I mean, that as a qualification setup, I don't know. If we're not seeing Gigabyte Marines at MSI, I'm very disappointed. And VCS has lost out on a chance to reintroduce themselves to the world stage in the best way. And it's an opportunity that they deserve. And if they don't get it, then I'm very, very disappointed.
So just so everyone is aware, it's SBTC Esports is currently still in. Burst the Sky Esports is still in. The Saigon Buffaloes and GAM are all still in it, and they are currently playing the knockout stage, which will be playing over the next week. Actually, games are happening tomorrow. Yeah. So we'll know by Saturday who won't be at MSI.
Yeah, which is kind of sad. I never want to advocate for a team sandbagging. And I think that every time you go on the riff, you should be putting your best foot forward. But for me, this entire setup, just it goes against how League of Legends esports should work, right? You should have the best teams at the international competitions. And I know that Southeast Asia has all the weird shit going on with Garena, but surely you can't rob international audiences of GAM because they are such a good team.
After so many years as well.
Yes.
Like, it's not like, okay, they've been stomping it and now they're gonna have to take something out for one MSI. Oh, it's an MSI, who really cares? The fact is, we haven't seen them at an international event since 2019. That is crazy to say out loud.
It is 2019.
Yes, because MSI 2020 got cancelled. They didn't make Worlds 2020, and then they didn't make anything in 2021. So I mean, it's crazy. But that was for a tier list, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think there's any point in going because we went on for way longer than we should have.
We sort of just went all over the place with that one.
We did, but we appreciate the question, Hina. Thank you so much for that one, and love the support in the chat as always. But ladies and gentlemen, with that said, I think it's time that we round this out. Middlecott, what you got planned for the next week? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to shout out for our listeners out there?
Well, I'm going to be showing up on this little broadcast called the LJL OU tomorrow.
Oh,
we've got some more games going on. Going to be jumping on Game 3 and Game 4 with Mr. Oak once again. Should be some fun stuff. Who have we got?
Oh yes, you're on after me and Kashko in the morning.
Yeah, I think we've got AXIZ DFM and then Sengoku versus the Hawks, which should be a couple of fun games.
I will
think it's
trust you on that because I don't know because I can't see notes currently on Discord. So we'll find out.
I've already done my prep, so I don't need to know now.
I mean, I think I've got a V3 match, so I mean, it kind of comes with the territory. I thought, I've got V3 CGI, so it's going to be a game of something.
CGI going to lose that somehow.
Oh god, that would be awful.
I just know it.
Outside of LJL, what have you got planned, mate? Anything else?
Thursday after NLC Div 2, going to be doing the after show with Verdun, which will be a lot of fun. bit of a quieter week for me. Just sort of milling around doing some stuff. If you're a caster and want a VOD review, I'm doing those now. So hit me up. But yeah, bit of a chill one. In the gym, might do some streaming. Probably won't. Watch more Star Trek. Yeah, easy.
Nice. Myself,
what are you up to? What are you up to, Lexi?
I will get this video. I completely re-recorded this whole video that I did. I actually ended up having to record it twice because I had the gain on my microphone for the whole recording. So the whole thing sounded like I was like, that's unusable. I'm gonna have to redo this. And I was like, do I want to try and fix this audio? And I was like, no, I could just re-record and probably just do it better. So that's what I did. So I'm currently going through editing everything that I hate about League of Legends esports. That, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, has nothing to do with the broadcast. Because guess what? The broadcasts are not the issue. They're not. People might think they are. Reddit might definitely think it is. It's not. The broadcasts are fantastic. And anyone that is nitpicking the broadcast, it's nitpicks. Understand it's nitpicks. There are far bigger problems. Give us a fucking good practice tool.
Oh, Lexi, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Okay.
How are we meant to get better if we can't practice
all right.
effectively?
It's by playing against humans, okay? Not target dummies. All right, Lexi, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, because every human learns the same way. It's not like our education system is already flawed and that Riot subscribing to it. Anyway.
Lexi, we've been going on for an hour and a half.
I know, we should really end this thing. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, if you like this podcast, you can find it on all audio platforms. If you're one of our lovely video people, you might be on Spotify or you might be on YouTube. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, rate us on iTunes, do all that lovely stuff.
Yeah.
That's the podcast. Thank you so much for listening or watching, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Jane, bye.